And Oscar goes to Ron Howard.
I love all kinds of movies, all kinds of stories, really, and I always have, and that's taken me on some fantastic.
The crowd holds its breath, and then applause. The Oscar goes to Ron Howard. A moment decades in the making, but behind the glitz and glory, there's a story you won't believe. A love that defied Hollywood, a career that almost slipped away, and a secret charm that changed everything. Buckle up, because this is the untold journey of Ron Howard, the man who turned childhood fame into legendary success. Ron Howard's love story sounds like a Hollywood script, except it's all real. His high school sweetheart, Cheryl Alley, didn't just fall into his arms like a movie romance. He had to propose 3 times before she finally said yes. And now, after decades together, he reveals the shocking truth behind their love, the hidden meaning behind their children's names, and the powerful way she shaped his career. But before he became an award-winning director, before Happy Days, before Hollywood even knew his name, Ron Howard was just a small-town kid from Duncan, Oklahoma. His destiny? Written long before he ever stepped in front of a camera. His parents, Rance and Jean Howard, weren't just actors. They were dreamers who gave up everything for the love of storytelling. One decision changed everything. They packed their bags, left behind their quiet Oklahoma life, and headed straight for Hollywood. But unlike other stars, they didn't chase the spotlight. No Beverly Hills mansions, no wild parties, just pure dedication to their craft. And that's what kept Ron grounded, even as the world watched him grow up on screen. At just 18 months old, Ron made his stage debut. By 2, he was in his first film. And by 6, he was Opie Taylor on The Andy Griffith Show, a role that would define him, but also trap him. The moment he stepped onto that set, Hollywood decided who he was, America's favorite little boy. But Ron Howard wasn't just a child star. He was watching, learning, preparing for something much bigger. And then, the moment that changed his life. At 6 years old, Ron faced his toughest scene yet, a young boy grieving his lost pet turtle. It was just acting, right? But when the cameras rolled, Ron delivered a performance so raw, so real, that even veteran director Bob Sweeney stopped in his tracks. This wasn't just another kid reciting lines. This was something special, a future filmmaker in the making. Andy Griffith himself became more than a co-star. He was a mentor, a second father. He taught Ron everything: storytelling, discipline, and how to hold on to his values in an industry that tests them at every turn. Even after the Andy Griffith Show ended, their bond never faded. But Hollywood wasn't done testing Ron Howard. He wasn't just Opie. In American Graffiti, he shattered expectations, proving he could play complex, emotional roles. But the real shocker, that tiny indie film, made for just $777,000, went on to earn over $140 million, launching not just Howard's career, but an entire era of nostalgia-driven films. And that's when Happy Days came knocking. The role of Richie Cunningham cemented Ron Howard's place in TV history. America loved him. The show exploded in popularity. But behind the scenes, a brewing storm. Enter Henry Winkler, the effortlessly cool, leather jacket-wearing Fonzie. Suddenly, Howard found himself in the background of his own show. Executives even toyed with renaming it Fonzie's Happy Days. Ron had a choice: stay in the shadow of his co-star, or take control of his own narrative. And that's when he made the boldest move of his career. He wasn't just an actor, he was a filmmaker, and he was about to prove it. With nothing but raw ambition and a deal he couldn't refuse, Howard agreed to star in Eat My Dust, but only if he got to direct his first feature film. That film? Grand Theft Auto, a low-budget, high-energy, car crash-packed adventure that turned heads in Hollywood. He co-wrote it with his father in just 2 weeks. They filmed it in 23 days. The result? A $15 million hit on a shoestring budget. It was official. Ron Howard wasn't just another actor. He was a director. Then came Night Shift, the comedy that silenced the doubters. Starring a then-unknown Michael Keaton, the film mixed outrageous humor with surprising heart. And, Critics loved it. More importantly, Hollywood finally saw Ron Howard for what he truly was, a visionary. But what happened next? That changed everything. Howard and Winkler had spent years together on Happy Days, but their collaboration on Night Shift was a game-changer. Winkler, best known for playing the ultra-cool Fonzie, took on a completely different role, proving he had the acting range to go beyond comedy. And Howard? He proved he wasn't just another actor-turned-director. He was a filmmaker who knew how to craft a story with both heart and humor. Critics compared Night Shift to other breakout comedies of the era, like Risky Business, and suddenly, Hollywood started taking Howard seriously. With momentum on his side, Howard wasted no time. In 1984, he directed Splash, a romantic fantasy that was as risky as it was unique. The film followed the story of a man who falls in love with a mermaid, a premise that could have easily flopped. But with Tom Hanks in the lead, alongside Daryl Hannah, John Candy, and Eugene Levy, the film struck gold. The mix of humor and genuine emotion turned it into a massive hit, raking in nearly $70 million at the box office. It wasn't just a win for Howard, it was a launchpad for Hanks, solidifying his status as a leading man. The film also made history as the first release under Disney's new Touchstone Pictures, signaling a shift toward more mature storytelling. Even Roger Ebert, despite loving the film, had one unexpected take. He thought John Candy should have played the lead instead of Hanks. Howard's next project, Cocoon, 1985, took him in a different direction. This sci-fi drama centered on elderly residents of a retirement home who discover an alien presence that restores their youth. It was a film packed with heart, humor, and groundbreaking visual effects that won an Academy Award. Featuring a cast of veteran actors, including Don Ameche, who won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor, the film grossed over $85 million, proving that Howard could handle more than just light-hearted comedies. Then came the defining moment, Apollo 13, 1995, a film that wasn't just a movie. It was an experience. Howard took on the incredible true story of NASA's 1970 lunar mission, where astronauts Jim Lovell, Jack Swigert, and Fred Hayes found themselves in a life-or-death crisis after an oxygen tank exploded. Suddenly, their mission to the moon turned into a desperate fight for survival. Starring Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon, Bill Paxton, Ed Harris, and Gary Sinise, the film was as realistic as it was gripping. Howard worked closely with NASA, even filming scenes aboard the infamous Vomit Comet to create real moments of weightlessness. The result? A global phenomenon. Apollo 13 grossed over $355 million worldwide and earned 9 Academy Award nominations. While it won for Best Film Editing and Best Sound, Howard was shockingly left out of the Best Director category. But the film's legacy was undeniable. The phrase, "Houston, we have a problem," became embedded in pop culture. And in 2023, Apollo 13 was added to the National Film Registry for its historical significance. Just a few years later, Howard tackled another real-life story with A Beautiful Mind, 2001, a film that took audiences deep into the mind of John Nash, a brilliant mathematician battling schizophrenia. Russell Crowe's performance was hauntingly powerful, capturing both Nash's genius and his struggles. Howard's creative storytelling pulled audiences into Nash's reality, only revealing key details when Nash himself began to understand them. The emotional backbone of the film came from Nash's relationship with his wife, Alicia, played by Jennifer Connelly, whose performance earned her an Oscar. A Beautiful Mind swept the Academy Awards, winning Best Picture, Best Director for Howard, and 2 more Oscars. Beyond its accolades, the film changed the conversation around mental illness, showing Nash's resilience rather than reducing his story to his struggles. Howard was proving himself to be a filmmaker who could do it all, from fantasy to drama to historical epics. But he wasn't done yet. In 2000, he ventured into the world of holiday films with How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Taking on a beloved Dr. Seuss classic was a risky move, but with Jim Carrey as the Grinch, it became a massive success, Carrie's transformation into the green, Christmas-hating character required hours of makeup every day, a process he compared to being buried alive. The production was so intense that Howard would dress up as the Grinch himself to lighten the mood. The film grossed $345 million worldwide and became the highest-grossing holiday film of its time, cementing itself as a Christmas classic. But his greatest achievement? Staying true to himself. Through decades in Hollywood, he's kept his feet on the ground, thanks to his lifelong partner, Cheryl Alley. Their love story, built on mutual respect and unwavering support, is as remarkable as any film Howard has ever directed. And that's what makes him not just a Hollywood legend, but an icon whose impact will last for generations.